Hey guys, welcome back. This is Joe Sniper, and I thought I'd make a video today because a few cards came in from Four Sharp Corners, which I won on an eBay auction, and I've been buying a lot more nines ever since the nines or the new tens video that I made earlier on. I just want to show you guys the cards and maybe do a comparison and see what you guys think. Now, the first card that I won, this is a PSA 9 Carlton Fisk, pretty well centered. Show looks pretty good. And the backstory is pretty good as well. Now, I'm just going to assume that the surface and registration is pretty dead on because usually nines don't have surface and registration issues. But yeah, so let's just assume that they're all spot on. The second card here is the PSA 9 Ricky Henderson. Centering just slightly tad bit shift down, but overall I'm quite happy with this card. I had one that was perfectly centered, and I sent it to PSA for grading, and it came back a 5. So yeah, often when that happens, it's usually like a small issue with the surface, and I think with my card there was like a tiny imprint, which was a shame because it was perfectly centered. The back center is tad bit off to the left, but overall this is a good looking card. PSA 9. And then we have the Carlton Fisk PSA 9. Center is pretty good, just slightly tad bit to the left, but I'm happy with it. And same thing here. This, on the back side, it's slightly off center to the right. A little soft on the corners here. Same thing here. But overall, good looking card. And as I mentioned before, with this card, there's always a good chance that there's a roller mark. There's you can see there's a slight hair thin roller mark here, but luckily it didn't extend all the way to the bottom. I've seen some that extends all the way to the bottom. Next, we have the Ryan Sandberg PSA 9. Centering's pretty good, a tad bit to the right. I think with this card, the back centering's dead on. I think it probably lost that grade because this is a bit more than 55 45. But overall, this is a really good looking card. Just maybe a tiny bit of softness on this corner, but still looks good. Then we have a Sammy Sosa PSA 9. Centering's just slightly off left, and it's slightly shifted up actually. Not this, the left and right centering is actually decent. Let's have a look at the corners. Tad bit softness here. Tiny bit of edge chipping at the bottom, which is very common with these cards. And yeah, so the card, as I was saying, in the front side, it's slightly off center and shifted up, and you can see it here. But overall, good enough for a PSA 9. And then we have a PSA 10, actually. I picked up this PSA 10. I don't remember how much I paid for it, but it wasn't much. So the thing is, this is slightly off center too, like a bit to the left. And that's what I want to talk about. And this is a fairly new grade. The back center is decent. Yeah, so I mean, the cards that we looked at already, a lot of them had a slight off-centering issue. Let's have a look at the corners. A little bit of edge chipping at the bottom here. And this corner is slightly soft. So there were a few cards, I think, maybe the Carlton Fisk base or the Ricky Henderson, that was in very similar condition to this 10. So that's why I'm more open to buying nines now, because I think a lot of the nines have the same characteristics of a PSA 10, but the 10s cost the big premium. Now, another card here, PSA 9, Ricky Henderson All-Star. This is kind of a hard card to get on eBay, well centered. The centering looks pretty good on this card. Yeah. Okay. It's tiny, tiny bit of a ding. Very tiny. Slight softness on the corners here. Back centering slightly off, but well-deserved 9, but maybe not a 10. But like I said, 10s aren't perfect neither. So next we have the Alan Trammell PSA 9 All-Star. I'm almost, I'm very close to completing my All-Star run. The corners look pretty good on this card. And I think just a tad bit off-center shifted up, but the left and right looks decent. Not perfect, but the left and right centering is passable for a 10. Just the left and right centering. And the back centering is pretty dead on. Yeah, so I don't know. I think this card, if you were able to, or if you were to crack and reslab, there's a big chance of getting a 10. Yeah. So that's the other thing too. Like buying, if you're investing in PSA 9s, and some deal comes up, which they never do anymore at PSA, you could crack and reslab, and a good chance some of them will come back as a 10. Okay, PSA 9, Larry Walker. Okay, it's definitely off-centered. This is probably, out of the whole stack here, the card with the biggest off-centering issue. It's very obvious. It's slightly off-centered to the left and shifted up. Let's have a look at the corners. Corners look pretty good. Tad bit softness on the bottom right, but overall, a tiny bit of white showing on this corner. Yeah. The back centering looks a little better, maybe. Maybe it's just me, but yeah, it feels more off-centered in the front. But overall, I think it's a well-deserved 9. Maybe a low 9. I wouldn't call this an 8, but yeah. And lastly, we have a Dale Murphy. Now, I think the Dale Murphy is also another candidate for a crack and reslab. Let's have a look. Okay. Corners look pretty good. Tiny, tiny bit of softness. But overall, the centering looks good. And the back centering is pretty dead on. So yeah, so for example, in terms of the overall, let's compare this with the Kevin Elster, which got a 10. Okay, there's a bit of visible edge chipping, which I don't really know whether or not. I think their PSA is a bit lenient on that kind of stuff, is knowing that a lot of cards do suffer from chipping. There's a bit of softness on this left corner here. I don't know if you can see it, but on an angle, it's more visible. But this card, so both of these cards have one corner that's slightly soft. But to me, the Dale Murphy looks a bit more well-centered than the Kevin Elster. The Kevin Elster is slightly shifted to the left, where the centering, I wouldn't call this perfect centering, but it's more centered. It feels more centered. It feels more balanced. So, and the back centering is dead on with the Dale Murphy. Let's have a look at the Kevin Elster. Yeah, and the Kevin Elster is definitely slightly more off-centered. As you can see, it's more shifted to the right here. So, I don't know. I mean, I know they're different cards, but to me, and there could be other issues, right? Like surface issues, or registration issues, or even maybe issues with the stamping of the foil. But usually with surface or registration issues, it won't just take off like one grade. It's usually like my Ricky Henderson took off a lot, right? Like became like a five. So I think the Dale Murphy, first of all, this is a good candidate to crack and reslab because there's a good chance this will come back as a 10. However, my point about this in this video is really that some of the nines, I mean, as long as you don't mind having nines in your collection, I mean, if you just want purely tens and don't mind paying the premium, go for it. But I'm just saying, like, as a collector, I just want good looking cards and I want good value in my collection. And so I don't really mind getting the nines, considering that they look a lot like the tens to me. So, what do you guys think? I mean, leave me a comment and let me know whether this type of mentality is correct, or you agree with me in some point, or if you don't agree with me. If you disagree with me, you're more than welcome to let me know why. Why we should just collect tens only. Is it a resale value thing, or is it the fact that the it's a pop count thing, whatever? Um, yeah, this is just my opinion. I just want to share with you some of the new cards I got from eBay and Four Shot Corners. So yeah, talk to you guys later.